Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Renata Richards, and I'm here to go through our training session this morning. Can everybody hear me? Everybody can hear me all right? Okay, so to get started this morning, before we do, can everybody please switch themselves on to mute? So there should be a little icon somewhere on your screen that allows you to mute yourself. And what that means is that we won't have any background noise. So if you can all please go ahead and do that, that would be wonderful, and then we'll get started. Okie dokie. All right. So this morning, ladies and gentlemen, our session is going to be covering creditors and customer payments. So I'm just going to go through what we're going to cover, and then we will get underway. So under creditors, this morning we are going to learn how to enter in a new creditor. We're going to look at how to find our creditors easily. We're then going to look at how to enter in a creditor invoice without a particular stock order and how to enter in a creditor invoice with an actual stock order. And we're then going to go through and show you a report that shows you any outstanding creditors that you still need to pay. And then we're going to actually do a creditor payment. In regards to our customer payments, that sits under as our debtors, so our customers. We're just going to go through and show you a customer invoice as a cash sale and show you how the point of sale works. And then we're going to go through and show you a customer invoice for an account customer. And we're then going to show you how you make a payment in full and do an actual receipt. And then we're going to show a part payment that needs to be made onto an invoice for an account customer. We're then just going to go through a quick report that will show us any outstanding debtors. And we're then going to run the statements. And then we're going to also show you how to send individual statements to customers and how they can be printed and emailed. So that is what we're going to be covering off this morning. So the session will probably run for somewhere around, half an hour or so. So if you could please all just keep your questions to the very end, that would be lovely. And then we'll go through them all once we've finished with the session. So let's get started. Alrighty-o. So I'm just going to log in here. Okie dokie. So this is workshop software, and the first thing we're going to do is how do we enter in a new creditor. So up here on the left-hand side, we have suppliers. So I call them creditors. In your case, in the system, it's suppliers. So as we can see here, we have all our different suppliers listed. Now to add in a new one, now what's important is just to make sure it's not in the system first. So this is where the searching comes into play very, very easily. So you can either come up in here and search for that particular supplier. So if it's Repco, you can find them directly through here. Otherwise, you can also filter it through the actual supplier database. Okay, so we can see we've got Repco here. Now, if we're looking for something like Imparts, which we have, what about if we look for Brooker's Brake and Clutch? Okay, so we don't have Brooker's Brake and Clutch. So we're just going to add them in. And to add them in, it's a matter of clicking on the plus to the right side here. So we just put in the name. Okay, if we had an address, we'd put it in. Warriewood, okay, yep. State is New South Wales. You can pop a phone number in here. Okay. We'll change that phone number there as well. Okay, Okay, and if the contact name is different as well, we'll change it as well. So Linda Smith, and if you had an email address, you could put it there as well. So it might be accounts@brookers.com.au. If you had a second contact, you'd also put them in here. So it might be Shane Rogers, phone number. Okay. Now, once you're done and you've filled out all of those fields, you just go save. Okay, and that's how simple it is to add a new creditor into workshop software or a supplier. And again, now if you wanted to come up here and actually say Brookers, you'll now notice that they're listed in there. Okay, so very, very simple to add it. Now, when it comes to creditor invoices, so we're going to now have a look at how to actually enter in a creditor invoice, and first of all, without an actual stock order. So you haven't placed a stock order with a supplier, but you've actually rung them up and you've actually said, can I just order these parts? And so they've then sent them to you and they've just given you a simple supplier invoice, and you don't actually have a stock order tied to it. So first of all, we can go here and we can say Brookers, and we have special little icons here which to the right here allow us to get to things quickly. So the little green one here is actually create a supplier invoice. So if we click on that, that's going to open up our creditor invoice for Brookers Breaking Clutch. So we put in our invoice number. Okay, and the post date, so the date of the actual supplier invoice. So if that's different, then we'll just change it to, let's say, the 8th of July. Okay, and now it's just a matter of, because we don't have a stock order, it's just a matter of putting in the product. So we ordered some oil, so an oil filter as an example, we ordered 10 of them. We ordered an air filter, one of those, and we ordered maybe some brakes. And we ordered, now they were costing us $80 and we ordered 2 of them. Okay, now once everything matches, which is $358.51, if we pretended that we actually had the physical invoice in front of us, if we had any notes we wanted to put down, so you might like to say, you know, this creditor needs to be paid, you know, the 15th of each month. Breaks were, let's say, for job 1, 2, 3. So you can put any notes you like there, and then you go process. And are sure you want to save and process invoice? Yes, I do. Okay, and that then will now put that invoice against that particular supplier. So if I was to have a look at Brookers Breaking Clutch, you will now notice at the bottom that there is an outstanding invoice that we still owe for $358.51. Okay, so that's how we do a creditor invoice, supplier invoice, without an actual stock order. If we actually had a stock order in the system for Brookers, which I will just go and actually quickly do one because I want to show you how this side of it works. So again, I'm just going to do Brookers. This time I'm clicking on this icon here called Create Stock Order, right? So if I quickly go in and just create a stock order and I say, okay, I want brakes. So I want 10 of those, and I'm ordering, what else what about bearings? Now bearing, they normally cost us about $50, and I want 10 of those as well. So if I then go process, then that's going to process that particular stock order. I can come up here and also email that directly to Brookers. But let's pretend that you've done a stock order. You've then received those parts from Brookers. Then again, we now need to do that invoice side. So do the actual supplier invoice. So same process, we simply find the actual supplier, and this time we again go to the invoice and we're going to pop it in as per normal. So another invoice number, okay, might be dated, let's say Monday. But however, this time around, ladies and gentlemen, we do not need to actually click into this products and type in the products at all. What we can do is next to the balance due up here is a little star. And all we do is click that star and we go add items from order. And this brings up all the purchase orders that we've actually put through the system. And we can see there's the one that I've just done. And we can go select, and as you can see, that then automatically loads up those products for us. Okay, so there is again all our products that we need to actually put through. All right, so any notes, we can add the notes in. Other than that, we can simply process, and that will now process that actual invoice for us. And again, if we look at Brookers, and you can again click them here by simply clicking on their actual business name, it'll take us to their file. And now you'll notice that there are 2 invoices that are outstanding for Brookers. Okay, so that is the difference of how we do a supplier invoice with a stock order and without a stock order. Okay. Now, if say for example you're going to do a creditors run, right, and you need to find out who you still need to pay for any stock that you've ordered, so any outstanding bills, right, and in this case, because we are dealing with workshop software, the only creditor invoices you will have in this system are for parts. Because this doesn't have a general ledger in it, it is not designed to do any business expenditures. Okay, so only parts invoices that you physically have where there are parts that you've had to order. So we can go to reports and go to business reports, and under supplier reports you have a little report at the bottom here called supplier balance, and you can sort it and look at it by whichever way you like. So I'm going to go by name, and I'm just going to click on the little green print icon. That's going to populate for us, and now I've got a fair few people here that I haven't paid, but you'll notice Brookers is one of them. Here it is here for that amount. Okay, so this gives us a total of everybody that we still need to pay, and it gives us a total at the bottom. So you can print this and then go off and have a look to see who you'd like to pay. Okay, so it's a very simple little report, and all you need to do now is actually look at doing the actual payments. So again, if we go to suppliers, and let's say we're going to pay Brookers, we type in that particular supplier that we want to pay, and again our shortcut this time is create a supplier payment. Now once I click on this, it's going to open up our payment screen. So I'm paying as of today. Okay, and here on the next line where we've got reference, there is a little icon which has got like a little plus sign, and what you need to do is click on that, and this will give us the invoices that are sitting in the system that need to be paid for this particular supplier. So I want to pay this one, and that's the one I'm going to pay. You might like to put here paid by direct deposit, whatever you may like. Okay, and we can go process. Yes, I want to make the payment. Okay, so we can now see up here where we've got closed, payment amount of $358.51. And if we go back to Brookers, we'll now notice down the bottom here that that invoice is not outstanding, and we've actually got a payment that we've made, and it's allocated a payment number. So that's how simple it is to make a payment. I'm going to go through that one more time just in case. So suppliers, pick our supplier that we want to pay, click on the $ to raise the payment. When are you going to pay it? So this one I'm not going to pay till Tuesday. Click on the little plus search icon there to bring up the invoices that you owe. And I'm going to select that's the one I'm paying, and make a note of how I'm paying it. So this one's by credit card. Okay, and go process. And that's now going to assign that payment against that invoice, and it will put a payment against that creditor's file. As we can see down the bottom here, there are no longer any balances outstanding. You can see our account balance up here is 0. We have no credits, and we've got our 2 payments on the bottom here. So that's how we look after creditors. That's how we add new creditors. That's how we find them. That's how we do our invoices with and without a stock order. And that's how we make the payments to them. Now, as well as that, obviously, if I go back to suppliers again, you can also, through here, send a supplier an email. So you might like to say to them, payment. So, hi, let's say Shane. For invoice, and put in whatever it is, and then go send, and you can notify your actual supplier in that particular way. Okay, so that's creditors. That's how we handle them within the system, and that's how we take care of them from Workshop software. So moving on to customers. So the next section I want to cover is customers, and we're going to show you how you take payments for customers for both cash and account, and how you can do split payments, followed by we're going to look at how to look at your outstanding debtors, so outstanding customers that are actually have got an account with you, and we're going to also look at our statements and how you can actually run reports or send them off individually. So first of all, I'm going to just go to the job centre as an example, and I'm going to pick an invoice here that needs to be paid by a customer. So I've got one here for $230.98. And this one's an account, so let me just go back one. We'll find one that's actually a cash customer. So maybe this one here, I'm pretty sure this one will be. Okay, so this is a cash customer. Now you can see it's a cash customer because in the top right corner it says cash. Okay, now down the bottom here you're also going to notice that we have this button called account type. Now what that does, and I'll give you a trick here, is even though Matt is cash, if for this particular invoice for $826.12, he wasn't going to pay you cash and you were going to say, well, look, okay, mate, let's put it on an account. And if you'd like to make some payment today or maybe make us a payment in a week's time, then if you flick this to account, you can then assign a payment term as to how long you're giving him to pay that invoice off for, and you're able to handle it in that way. But he will still remain as a cash customer. It's just for this particular job, he's going to put it on account. But for this example, we're going to go cash. So say, for example, Matt was very happy with this particular invoice. There was nothing else left for us to do. So what I want to show you is when we click on process, the system automatically populates a point of sale system for us. Now, here what we can do is we can say, well, he's going to give us some cash. Okay, so he might give us $525.95, and he's still got $300.17 outstanding, and he's going to pay the rest of that via his credit card. Okay, so as long as you type in the exact amount as to what's owing and the balance is left to 0, then the system will let you process. If the balance is not 0, it will not let you process it. So it is designed so that no mistakes can be made. So we can see that that's right, and we can now process. And no, I'm not going to print it this time, but you could print the invoice if you wanted to. But we can see once it's processed, that invoice is finalized. It's gone grey, and that means that there is nothing else you can do that an invoice at this stage, apart from if you need to, you can reverse it out or void it. But that's how we process a customer payment, which is for point of sale for a cash customer. If it's for a customer that's got an account with you where they have a 30-day account, so like this one here, this ABC Electrical, we can see it's an account customer. The account type is set to account. The payment terms might be 20 days. And let's say, for example, you're going to process this invoice and then they're going to make a payment to you in full, let's say the following week, okay, for $230. So we simply come down and we process. And the difference here, no, I'm not going to update it to today. The difference here is once it's processed, it doesn't take you to point of sale. What it does is it simply processes that invoice. You can go off and email that invoice now off to that particular client and let them know this is the invoice that's outstanding for the work that we did. Please arrange payment to us within 20 days because that's the payment terms we had. And so therefore now if we have a look at ABC Electrical, you'll now notice that there will be an invoice here for $230.90, which is outstanding. We can see that it is processed, it's not closed, and it's not open, but it is processed, which is exactly what we've done. We've actually processed it. So if, say, for example, you then went ahead and you checked your bank account, right, the following week, and you noticed that there was a payment there for $230.98 from ABC Auto Electrical, you now need to go in and do a receipt to say you're going to receipt that. So again, very, very simple. We can go to our customers. We can look at ABC Electrical. And again, we have a few little options here. We have edit customer. We have add a vehicle, make a booking, or do an invoice. Now, to make a payment, you've actually got to go into the customer's file by double clicking on it and coming down here to the very bottom, and you can see it says customer payments. We have a plus sign here to our left, so we go plus and it brings us to the payment screen. And the payment was received today, and quite similar like the creditor payments, we again have that little search icon here, and it's going to bring up the invoices that are outstanding for this customer. So they're paying this $230.98. Okay, that's automatically popped that on. And how did they pay you? So we select that they paid you by direct deposit. Reference was 659, $230.98, and we're going to apply that. Okay, we can now see the balance has changed to zero. We have no balance again, and we can now process. That has now applied that payment against that customer invoice. So if I go back to ABC Electrical and look down the bottom here, we will notice that $230.98 invoice 659 is closed, and we can also see that there's a payment. So there is no balance owing at all. Okay. If there was a situation where the customer, like ABC Auto Electrical, so if I go to Job Centre and we look at another one here, which is $190, we processed this invoice and they were going to say, okay, look, I'm going to pay you half tomorrow, and then the half is going to be paid before my payment term is up. So by the end of the month, let's say. So we pick out payment term. So 30 days after end of month. We're going to process this invoice. And let's say they said, okay, well, instead of paying the whole lot, I'd like to pay only just a small amount of that. So can I pay the $90.84 and then leave the $100 owing on my account and then pay that at the end of the month? So same sort of process. We need to do a receipt. So we go to our customers, we find ABC, open it up, come to the bottom and click on the plus sign. And we're going to again say, okay, well, received that payment, let's say on the Monday. And we're going to find the one that they're paying for. So it's this top one here. However, they're not paying the full amount. So in this field here called applied amount, we need to put in that they're only paying $90.84. They paid us that by direct deposit for invoice 647. And again, we go apply. Now, as we can see, yes, our balance is zero, but our balance up here, which is in that balance column, is $100, which is exactly what we want. So we can now process, and we'll now see, if we go back to our customer, that on their file down here, this invoice has still got a balance of $100. So what that means is that when they pay you the remainder, then you apply that $100 to that invoice, and then it will no longer be outstanding. But that is how we do a part payment rather than somebody paying it in full. Okay? So to show you a report that shows you an outstanding list of all the people that still owe you money because they're on a 30-day account or they're on some kind of a payment term of yours. So we need to have a look to see who they are so we know who we're chasing for money. So under customers, we need to have a look at the customer balance report, and again we can look at it by any particular order, and then you can look at it by a particular date, so as of today, and we go print. And this brings up a list of everybody that owes you money. So you can see here they've broken it down by individual customer and their invoices and how much they owe you and their actual total. Okay. At the end of the report, you'll also have a full total of how much people owe you. So in this case, it's over $6,400 that all these customers owe me money for. Okay. And you can also see exactly what it's for. So you can see that it's for, logbook servicing, it's for part sales, it's for general services, so on and so on. So great little report that you can run, and then you can chase your debtors accordingly. Now, back in workshop software, you can also run statements. So again, up here in the report console, you can choose your date and you can run statements. Now, these will be for every single person. So this one here is for 124 electrics, and we've got Aaron. So these will print individually, and that's how they're going to print, advising clients of what they still owe you money for. So that's a full report that you can run for everybody. Otherwise, if you go to the individual customer and you look them up, then up here where you've got the balance, there's a little icon with a little square box with an arrow pointing. If you click on that, you can actually go, well, print statement, show me this statement just for this customer. And we can see this is the statement just for ABC Electrical. Not only can you print it, but you can click on that icon again and go email the statement, and you need to then email that off. It's very important that if you're going to be using the email functionality within workshop software, that each and every time you have a subject and a message in the email. You must have those two fields filled out. If you don't fill those fields out, the email will not be sent correctly. Okay, so just take note. So that's, ladies and gentlemen, how we do statements as a whole. That's how we print them, and that's how we do them for the individual customers. Now, everything that I've just gone through this morning, everything that we've covered, which is the creditor invoices, creditor payments, customer invoices, and customer payments, if you are integrating into Xero and MYOB, those things will automatically pull through to those two accounting systems for you, and they will go through as the individual transactions. Okay, so that's our session on creditors and customer payments. So now I'm going to open up the lines for any questions. So throw them at me. Any questions about anything that we've covered this morning, ladies and gentlemen? No questions from anybody? Everyone's feeling comfortable and confident with what we've covered? Okay, I'm just going to ask, I've got Tegan has joined us, I can see. So Tegan, I'm just going to ask if it's okay, could you share with us what you found valuable about this particular training session this morning? Now, I think Tegan can hear me, but I can't really hear her, so I'm hoping she's going to send us a message. So bear with us. Okay, maybe not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, if there are any other questions that you may have about anything that we've covered in today's session, please feel free to email support@workshopsoftware.com.au. You can also contact us on 1300 729 658. We're more than happy to help, and we hope to see you at our next training session, which will be again on Friday next week, covering a different side of the system. Hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope you've all found it very helpful. I appreciate taking the time out of your day. And like I said, if you do need us, feel free to let us know. Have yourselves a lovely Friday and a nice weekend. Thank you very much.